welcome back to more Minecraft Desync. Not so Secret Saturday edition. We last left off, continued making our sugarcane farm. We are going to finish trying to kind of set that up. I just need to remember where I put the cane. I like to think I brought it down here. Or maybe I planted it and I've already forgotten. We'll find out. It is probably upstairs. We're just going to quickly throw down these 4 buckets of lava. Since they're already out here. So we need to get a lot of them, and they're already filled. There is no reason not to. And then we're going to go get our sugarcane, and hopefully have some fun with that. Oop. I really need a better lava source, though. Or at least a closer one. Because, brother, this is a long walk for lava. Or I just need to build a cart. Need to get my minecart booster track system going down the mine shaft, apparently. Actually, I could put rails down here, couldn't I? That could be interesting. Could be. Okay, got all you. Time to run on back. All this for just simple lava. Maybe... How interesting. You're a slime chunk. How interesting. Not that I can really do anything with the slime. It just kind of exists. Maybe we'll get something cool to do with it in a future update, but right now it's just slime. Now, I'm not going to be stupid and try to modify an already active block. Just going to go back one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the best I'll do. Alright. 9, and we just need what? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 more to go. Let's go. Let's get this bread. So I think the last time I tried to desperately explain what the hell the doom was for Atlantis. So now I'm going to try to explain Yohannia, a small African nation that borders Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Why them? Because I'm at least familiar, because I actually wrote them. Oh boy. We're cooking. We're cooking with cats. I want to be a cooked cat. I'm burning. That's a lot of lava damage. Owie. Got the big ouch. The big ouch on that one. I really wish the grass would grow faster down here. Come on, guys. What more do you need? What more could you possibly want? Really stupid of me to do this like that. Pretty stupid. Alright. This kind of looks cool. Lava lights in here, lava lights in there. So this is, I think, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. I think. On my screen, it looks really dark. But I know it's not dark. Excuse me? Oh, it must be that. It's you that's making the noise. I was about to say, I'm like, excuse me? You shouldn't be flowing. So, Yohannia. I gave you its rough location. It also borders Lake Victoria. Yohannia is a great nation. Who am I kidding? It's an African nation. It'll always be garbage. But, they are descended from a Christian Crusader state. King of Yohannia is descended from the royal lineage of a Flanders duke who was running Jerusalem, who I believe his name was Richard, and he was I remember when I first we were first doing dev stuff, I just called him this glorious bastard, or this pompous bastard, because everyone's like Pelagios or Ducas, and then there's Robert II of Jerusalem, and he took the last name as Heracolomenes, and it's like, okay, he just like, I am Jerusalem. You got it, buddy. This pompous prick. Need some you. So he and his merry band of crusaders, I think it was the third crusade that he and his crew, for whatever reason or another, got what they thought was a call for help in the south. So he gathered up his men and set forth. And he then traveled there and proceeded to slaughter a lot of the natives, considering animist, Islam didn't really matter. You were not facing the Lord of Christ, convert or die. And a lot chose die. Is this a full cave, or did we already explore this? Yeah, we already explored this. This can be blocked off. Just needed to get that information. Good enough. Alright. Now you just need to get. So there wasn't too much that was, at least that I wrote for this early period, because honestly, in trying to locate any sort of functioning African history, I ended up just being unable to find anything good. Especially the, like, Uganda was, like, the best candidate, and even then, their history... Ooh, my trees are growing. My best candidate was Uganda to at least bounce stuff off of, because they were basically... They would have been neighbors at all times, but the Bronze... But the Bronze Age of Uganda didn't really have a date. Or at least it had a date, but it had conflicting dates that I couldn't really parse. It's like the Ugandan Bronze Age with some numbers and other numbers that indicate maybe the 1500s, which by then would have been way too early. But that's a different problem. So I kind of just had them, you know, weird state of war? Not war. With each other. Always tussling there. I basically just made them like a co-equal rival almost. As the Empire of Qatari. Because that was a thing. But beyond that, I didn't do much with that. Busted it apart again. And then in around the 1700s, like the first major like civil war of Yohannia kind of occurred. Where the peasants uprised, there was a Jew. Um, pick up the bucket. Well, that's weird. Okay, but there is both a Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and peasant revolt, all in the kingdom, all at the same time. Why were they there? Why were all three groups in this area? It wasn't my choice, is what, others said, like, that was, like, they wanted, like, a mix. The lead wanted, like, a mix of, religion in there. So I made an ethnically homogeneous, religiously diverse populace. And this civil war is the result of that, to give them the most convoluted form of government that I probably could have made, to keep all the religions from actively trying to kill each other. That doesn't mean they aren't passively trying to kill each other, but they aren't at least actively grinding politics to a halt. So we have like the House of House of Peasants, House of Lords, and then the House of God, where the religions would, if a law involved religious matters, they needed to go through that check to make sure that it was quote unquote fine for all religions. Knowing what I do now, this never would have worked. Never. Because they can't. Because one, Jews are little subversive bastards half the time, and Islam has a dominance problem, and when they become a minority majority, they basically try to enforce their will anyway. And at least this would have been like Catholic Christianity that would have ended up down there, because Robert was Catholic of the older branch. It would have been like a pre-Reformation Catholic branch. And they basically, everyone would have been just trying to kill each other actively, and it would never have worked long term. So, while I am aware of it now, the lore for at least in the official AML is kind of stuck with that. So I just kind of have to roll with it, even though now I know that they would have just actively it wouldn't have mattered. They would just actively have tried to kill each other anyway. In my very future version, I will be fixing that, at least on my personal end. Will it stick in the mainline? Probably. Will mine update with it? But you live and learn. Like, I naively believed that all people could come together cleanly. No, we will find any excuse to kill each other. Any excuse. It really doesn't matter. Oh, he breathed different than me. He's got different earlobes. Kill that man. I do want to go chop down my trees, but I also know I'll wait. We need to focus on getting this to actually, you know, be a mine. So let's pick... Well, you know what? I have an idea. What is the X of this farm? This goes 3 in. Well, this actually doesn't matter. I need this variable. So, 34. I need to get to 34, so we're going to punch through that. But by 1914 is when like the lore really started kicking off for Yohannia. Because of its position. Congratulations. You are now fighting Britain. Congratulations. Good luck. Don't get eaten. How they don't get eaten by Britain is I just have them pull a Meiji Restoration-esque style grouping, I guess. So, the king in his wisdom industrialized as best he could, and when the British came in 1898, his preparations allowed them to at least hold the line. Yohannia lost its greater empire, and it was reduced to her core territories, but she basically came out as the ethnically homogeneous blob, instead of having to worry about her other ethnic groups in the border of their empire anymore. And by this point, the Yohannians had essentially self-segregated into their own provinces, which helped keep the killing down, but which means this entire place is held together by glue, hopes, and dreams. Because the people had self-segregated into their own regions. I can't count. That's my problem. So we had the Jews kind of mostly migrate south. Not really migrate south, but they lived along the coastal cities of Lake Victoria. But they also lived in they lived mostly in some cities, but they were primarily in like the south, yeah, basically just the south. That was the primary location where they kind of holed up. They didn't have enough strength to fill a whole province, but they did exist mostly down there, with some pockets everywhere else in the country, as they do. Then the Christians basically had the western half of the country, for the most part. Basically, taking over. And then in the eastern, where by Lake Turkana, is where Islam had basically resided. Because it was, I figured, that was pretty close to their home territory. That they would have wanted to, like, you know, settle or be, you know, it's closer to what they're familiar with, so I just kind of put them there. And it's also kind of supposedly where they came from. Thanks, Zanzibar. Okay, this is this one. And it was a somewhat 2-year-long war that Britain basically had to call upon the Raj to supplement her forces and just slaughter everyone. Basically, overwhelming number power. Get good scrub. 34.33. I want to punch it out one and then loop. One more. Okay. Want to do this? Yeah, I think we'll do it this way. No, I don't want to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. I'll do it a little further. 3, 4. Five. Then we'll do that little loop. I think this is like that over there. I think. I hope it is, because it's gonna bother me to the end of time if it's not not really equal, but if the center line isn't, you know, pretty or stylized slightly. Be slightly upset at that. And here we are. I know I did my best to kind of say Yohannia history, but there's just a lot more post 1900 that I could really get into, and we are out of time. So, in any case, I hope you all have enjoyed watching, and we will see you all on the next episode of Minecraft Desync. Not so Secret Saturday edition. Bye-bye! Oh,